Hi everyone, my name is Anna and I'm the head of the Student Life Department at TAU International. It's really nice to meet you. Welcome to Israel and welcome to our Student Life Orientation. This orientation is to help you with settling in Israel, and hopefully this will answer all of your questions and make your time in Israel more easy and fun. Usually we have this orientation face-to-face with students upon their arrival to Israel and TAU. Unfortunately, this year, due to the pandemic, we couldn't do it in person, and social gatherings are not really allowed at this time. So we had to be creative. This is why we created this video together with me and all of my counselors to give you all the information you need to know in one video. So sit back and relax. All you need to do is listen. And since it's recorded, you can always go back. You can always see another topic again if you're really interested. And you can save it on your computer and watch it anytime. Super easy. So let's begin with our first topic. I'm going to share my screen with you. Okay, so as I said, welcome to Tel Aviv. Welcome to TAU University and TAU International. Our first topic is the introduction. So who are we, this student life team? As you can see, this is me with a really cool hat in the beach. Israel has great beaches and hopefully you'll be able to enjoy some of your time in our beaches. My counselors are 6 amazing people. As you can see, we have Guy, Michal, Uriel, Eden, Danielle, and David. And the 6 of them are going to be presenting the topics for this orientation. So really soon, you're going to meet each and every one of them. Hopefully, the quarantine is over, and when you can start your studies on campus, you can meet us all in person as well. Okay, so this must be familiar. This is our welcome kit. We sent it to you a few days prior to your arrival. Almost all the information, everything you need to know is on this welcome kit. So I really recommend reading it thoroughly, all the pages, and making sure that you know everything you need to know regarding settling in, what you need to buy, how you get through Tel Aviv and campus and the dorms, and basically any information you need in order to get along and have your life much more easy here in Tel Aviv and on campus. So if you, for some reason, didn't receive this welcome kit through your email, please send us an email so we can resend it to you and you can read it and save it on your computer. Okay, so the TAU International Office has a lot of sections and employees. First, where are we located? So we're located inside the campus of TAU in a building called Carter Building. It's the building right next to the Beit Hatfutzot Museum, which is a really large museum inside of the university, and we're the building attached to it. We're sitting on the first floor, the ground floor, in room 108, and we're basically open Sunday to Thursday from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. And you can also have our secretary's number. As you can see, currently due to COVID-19, we cannot accept students in the office in person, but we are available for you during these times and hours via phone or via email. We're very responsive. So in case you need anything, you can always call or email us and we'll be happy to answer. So here are all the relevant emails that you need to know. For the undergrad student life team, this is the email. If you're a grad student, this is the email of the grad student life team, and the email of our housing and insurance team, which I'm sure a lot of you will need along the year. We also have our academic and admissions and finance department. We have 2 different emails, one for study abroad students if you have any academic questions while you're here, and for degree students, you each have your program coordinators. I'm sure you already have their emails, so any academic question or anything about your finance, financial aid, or your tuition, you can receive all of these answers with your program coordinators. Okay, so this was the introduction, and now you're going to meet one of my counselors, Michal, who will start by explaining a little bit about quarantine and what to expect during these 2 weeks of your first time here in Israel. So, Michal, stage is yours.
Hi, everyone. My name is Michal. I'm also a part of the student life team here at TAU. I've been a counselor for the past 2 years. And like Anna said, I will be talking a bit about quarantine. So if you enter Israel during coronavirus, you have to stay 2 weeks in quarantine in the TAU dorms. So if you have to be quarantined, which is most of our students, unless you came from a green country, which is corona-free, the next couple of slides are for you. Okay, first, the quarantine are going to be in the Einstein dorms. The address is written on the screen. It's Chaim Levanon Street, 63. To get here from the airport, you would have to take a taxi. In normal times, you could have also take the train, but because of coronavirus, you have to take a taxi. You and the driver will both wear masks, and the window should be open throughout the ride. Now, what should you expect in the apartment? So each apartment in the Einstein dorms has 2 rooms, 2 residents in each room. So that means up to 4 people in the apartment which share a common kitchen and a bathroom and a toilet. The apartments are fully furnished. Each room has an air condition, a TV with cables. Each resident has a bed, a desk, also a pillow and a blanket. The kitchen is equipped with all the necessary utilities. You have a kettle, a microwave, electric stove, all the silverware you need, cups, plates, and so on. You also have basic cleaning supplies, and this is why you don't have any excuse to not keep your apartment clean. This is recommended not only because of coronavirus, but throughout the year. You would have basic dry groceries in your apartment. Food groceries such as sugar, coffee, oil, salt, and so on. Once you arrive to your apartment, you have to make sure that you have indeed all the necessary cleaning supplies and dry groceries. You were supposed to get a list in the welcome email that you received. If you do not have all of these, you can email us at Madrichim OSP email address, and we will refill it for you. You can have 1 refill during your quarantine here. So please make sure that in the first email you send, you request everything that you need. Okay, so you also have free Wi-Fi at the dorms. Each building has its own Wi-Fi, and quarantine protocol means basically that you cannot leave your apartment for any reason, just to make sure that in case you are infected with coronavirus, you're not gonna infect anyone else. And since you cannot leave your dorm, here are a few options for online shopping, purchasing a SIM card, and making laundry. Keep in mind that when you arrive here, you're going to have, in addition to the dry groceries I mentioned earlier, you will also have a few basic groceries in your fridge, such as vegetable, eggs, milk, bread. I think that's about it. And you are getting meals for the first 3 days of your stay here. You have a sandwich and a warm lunch every day for the first 3 days. After that, you have to make your own grocery shopping or food shopping. So how can you do that? The best option, which we recommend, is Walt app that you can order food through. You can also order groceries from an option called Yellow Market. The reason we recommend this option the most is because their delivery people know that they have to enter the dorms and bring the food up to your apartments. But of course, you're welcome to check any other supermarket online that make deliveries. You have a few options in the welcome kit that you received, and you can also, of course, make your independent search online. In Walt, they also have an option of toiletries purchase, which is called Bee Farm. Okay, Now, regarding the SIM card, again, you can choose any option that you see fit. You have recommendations in the welcome kit. Another option that we recommend here is called One SIM Hub, because they also make deliveries to the dorms. So if you didn't order your SIM card before you arrived here, you can order it while you're in quarantine and they will bring it to you. Lastly, let's talk about laundry. So if you don't have to do laundry for the first 2 weeks of your stay here, we recommend avoiding it. But if you really want to do laundry, and since you cannot leave, there is an app called Kvisi, and they can collect your laundry from your building. You put it in a bag, and then a few days later, you get it back clean and folded. I hope everything was clear. Up until now, these were a few rules mostly, and some things that you should expect when you arrive. So now let's talk a bit about the fun stuff. Again, since you can't leave, the student life team, are gonna make short activities for you online. So every week, one of us is gonna lead some online activity, workout, games, virtual tours, meditation, and so on. You will receive an email about the activity a few days before it happens, and you are welcome to join through the link. And now I'm just gonna give a few tips for quarantine, even though every person can do whatever they want and whatever makes them happy. But some stuff that we thought about is remaining physically active. You can find a lot of workouts online. Keep yourself busy in any way that is fun for you. Netflix, podcasts, call to your friends and family, do video chats with them. You can find new hobbies such as drawing, writing, meditation, yoga, online games. And what I love the most is making plans for after quarantine. Tel Aviv is a great city. You can look up the best beaches, the best restaurants, the best museums, and hopefully you will also make new friends once you leave quarantine. And also make sure you write these down, our emergency number and our email. You also receive them in the welcome email, and they're in the welcome kit. And Anna probably mentioned them earlier, but these are important things to remember. Now, I will be talking a bit about your safety and security here in TAU in general. This is no longer relevant only for quarantine period, so please pay attention. First, TAU International Mobile Phone Policy. So we require all of our students to have Israeli SIM card. So if you didn't order one before you arrived here, you can order one once you enter Israel. Like I said before, you have one SIM card carrier, and you also have tons of other options in the welcome kit that we send you. Next is we require you to complete the contact information form, which you have received by email. If you didn't receive it, please let us know. But again, it is very important that you complete it and write down your Israeli phone number, which is something we need to have just in case of an emergency. We need to be able to reach you. Okay, so emergency protocol, WhatsApp emergency groups, and the email. At some point during your stay here, we will add you to an emergency WhatsApp group, which is only going to be active if, God forbid, any security hazard occurs. So this group is likely to not be active at all once you're here. And if there's any non-urgent issue, we will contact you by email and we'll tell you all the information that you need to know. Facebook Messenger may also be used as a means of contact, but not for emergencies. We are only available on our Facebook during our office hours, which is usually 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. So you are welcome to message us there, but please not for emergencies. And it is also recommended to subscribe to your embassy alerts. For example, in the US, it's called STEP. Emergency contacts that you should know about. So first, us, the student life team, are on duty 24/7 for emergencies. Here you have the number of the undergraduate student life team, which is us, and the graduate student life team, and some other useful and important numbers. For medical emergencies is 101, for fire emergencies 102, police is 100, and sexual harassment hotline is 1202 for women, 1203 for men. But what is an emergency? So an emergency is anything that has to do with your immediate security or health. So we are, as I said, are always available 24/7. But during weekends and nights, if you feel unwell, you should call us. If you have a non-urgent question, such as dorm-related question, you need recommendations for food, you cannot find, I don't know, your cleaning supplies, anything, please do not call us, email us, or send us a WhatsApp message, and we will answer you as soon as we see it. But if it's anything urgent, please don't hesitate to call. Remember, we are students like you are, and we care very much about our night's sleep, so be considerate and don't call us for non-urgent issues, but we mostly care about your health and well-being. So if you do need us, don't hesitate to call. The things we worry about the most while you're here may not be what you expected. So first, we are worried about COVID-19. Please follow the Ministry of Health guidelines. Always wear a mask when you're in public. Avoid crowded areas. Maintain increased hygiene, which is a good idea always, not only throughout Corona period. Personal injuries. Please watch out for scooters and electric bike. If you are riding electric bike or electric scooter, always wear a helmet. Make sure you're always on the side of the road and in the allowed lane for scooters and bike. And if you are a pedestrian, please watch out for people. I myself was hit by a scooter a few days ago, which was not a pleasant experience. Please be careful. Alcohol-related issues. So the drinking age in Israel is 18. All of our students are legally allowed to drink, but we recommend to not drink too much. Always drink responsibly. Always make sure you have a friend who's sober. Absolutely don't drive when you're drunk, and just always be responsible and keep in mind the consequences of your actions. Israel is a very hot country, so we are worried about heat stroke, dehydration, and sunburns. If you go to the beach, make sure to put sunscreen, to have a hat on your head, to drink tons of water, and in general, just hydrate yourself throughout the day, all the time, even in the winter, but mostly throughout the summer. And swimming. So Tel Aviv has great beaches, great sea. Make sure you only swim when the lifeguard is there, which is throughout the day. So don't go at nights, especially not when you're drunk, and care about your life and be careful. And what about some other things that you may be worried about when you hear the name Israel? Security issues aren't a common thing here, but they may happen. So we'll give you some tips and some information about that. So when you move to a new apartment, you should look for the shelters around you. If it's in the dorms, if you live in the dorms, one of my colleagues will explain more about the locations soon in the orientation. If you live in your own apartment, you may have a shelter next to your house. You may have a mamad, which is a shelter within the home. And outside shelters are called miklats. So the alarm systems here. Rising and falling siren means danger. It is not common to hear, but if you do hear it, it means you have to look for a shelter. If you're not sure where the shelter is in the place that you are during the siren, just follow what people around you are doing. This is always a good tip. A monotone siren is a symbol for Memorial Days in Israel, and it means we have to honor our fallen soldiers, the victims of the Holocaust, and you don't have to worry. During the monotone sirens, you just stand still for a minute or two. And as I said, if you're unsure what is happening, just follow the people around you, ask people around you what to do. And people in Israel are usually very friendly and they will help you. That increased security is status quo in Israel, meaning that always in the entrance to the malls, to the train station, to almost any public place, you will be required to open your bag and a security guard will check what you have inside. It's nothing personal. It doesn't mean you look like a suspect of anything. It just means that the security guard is taking care of the security of the people where he guards. Just be friendly to security guards that you see. The dorms also have security guards. And keep in mind that it is always the situation here. That's it. Thank you. And I hope to see you soon in Israel.
Hey everyone, I'm David. I'm going to refer to the health topic. So let's begin. About health insurance. You must have an active health insurance for your entire stay in Israel. We strongly recommend having an insurance that collaborates with an Israeli health provider, Clalit, Leumit, Maccabi, Meuchedet. We strongly recommend also not to have just a non-Israeli insurance because it might be more difficult to receive health services with this kind of an insurance. Okay, some programs are insured through Tower International as part of their tuition. Study abroad and several degree programs, as you can see in the link. All programs who are not covered by Tower International, including PhD and postdoc students, need to purchase the insurance independently, as explained in this link. Diana is the housing and insurance coordinator. You can refer any question regarding insurance to her email, as you can see. Let's talk about Tower International Health Insurance, the one that is part of the tuition of some of the programs. So Menorah is the insurance company. Leumit are the clinics. There are many of them all over Israel. We recommend keeping your card with you all the time and taking a photo of the card so you have the policy number in case you lost it and you still can receive health services. What the insurance does not cover. So dental care, psychological service, pre-existing conditions, injuries under influence of alcohol or extreme sports, any area under Palestinian control, anything abroad, car accidents, and so on. You can read the entire policy in Tower International website. You're welcome to do that. What do you do if you don't feel well in Israel? So to schedule a doctor appointment, you call asterisk 507 and pressing 4 for English. You can ask the madrichim, you can ask us for help if you have trouble. And this number is the address for any question, any health question or case you run into. So when you call them, you get to speak with the nurse and she can guide you to the right direction. The nearest Leumit clinic is Abba Chimeir Street 26 in Tel Aviv. You can see how to get there by public transportation and their phone number. Last thing, you can order a home visit doctor by calling asterisk 9101. This one is highly recommended because this is part of the policy and the doctor comes to your place within 3 or 4 hours without extra charge. Yeah. Medical emergency. So when the Leumit clinic is open, you can go there without an appointment. Get checked by a nurse or a doctor if needed. After the regular clinic hours, an emergency clinic service without a referral is available to you for reduced cost of 87 shekels. The clinic called Bikur Rofeh. The address is Yigal Alon 90, Tel Aviv. If you need an emergency clinic in the middle of the night, you can go to an emergency clinic called Terem. address Zev Jabotinsky 160, Bnei Brak. ER, so emergency room visits are only covered in the case of true medical emergency. You need a referral for an ER first, except in case of life or death. So we strongly recommend to visit the emergency clinic before going to ER, especially if you don't have a referral from a doctor. Since without a referral, you will pay a large fee at the ER, and we cannot guarantee a refund from the insurance company. Last topic, psychological service at Tel Aviv University. So we highly recommend about this one. It's available in English in the campus. University psychological service can be contacted by this number or this email. It's located in Mitchell Building, room 216, Sunday to Thursday from 8:30 to 2:30 p.m. This is completely confidential. There is a fee per session, not covered by insurance, but much cheaper than any psychologist you see outside the university. So it's very affordable. And maybe your own private insurance might cover it. It's recommended to check with your own private insurance. Yeah, this is about it. See you around, and good luck.
Hi everyone, I'm Uriel. I'm a psychology and anthropology student here at Tel Aviv University, and I'm also a proud madrich in the international school. And I'm going to go over a few things with you, but today I'm going to be the bad cop because soon my friends will speak about things that are recommended to do, some things that even we ourselves provide student life team. But as for now, I'm going to go over a few things that are prohibited or at least not recommended, and some are really prohibited and some are just not recommended. So I'll go over it. We'll start with independent student travel policies. So first, due to COVID-19, we strongly recommend that you do not travel abroad during your program. It's important to remember that if you do travel, you have to be quarantined for 14 days. It's not our decision, it's the Israeli government decision, and we have to enforce it. So if you go abroad, you need to know that this will be the consequence. And also it's important to remember that flights are very limited on the first place. So as for now, with the current situation, we highly recommend that you stay here in Israel. It's a wonderful place, so it's not such a hard thing to do. If you do decide to leave Israel for any reason, please contact the student life team and make sure you have appropriate insurance coverage. It's very important to remember that your insurance is not covering you everywhere. So, and you don't want to go somewhere where you're not covered. So please contact us and make sure that you are covered. It's also important to know that Tau International strictly prohibits travel to the Sinai Peninsula, Gaza, Lebanon, and Syria during a student's program at TAU, and discourages travel in the West Bank. So the first are prohibited, and going to the West Bank is just discouraged because we cannot be responsible for the security situation over there, and our insurance doesn't cover students there, like speaking of the West Bank, nor it covers you in Jordan. Okay, student conduct. So what do we expect of you when you're students here? So first, we expect that you behave respectfully at all times. When you're a student of Tel Aviv University, you also represent Tel Aviv University, and that means that we trust you and we trust that you behave properly. And we don't want to get into any kind of troubles, and also you don't want to. Discrimination of any kind is never tolerated in any situation, in any context. We treat each and every person equally. It doesn't matter his or her gender, sexual orientation, religion, the color of his or her skin. We treat each and every person equally. It's not just an ethical issue for us, it's also something that we treat very strictly if we see something like that. Okay, Tau academic integrity policy. So needless to say, plagiarism, fabrication, and or cheating are not tolerated. This is how education works. And you'll get more details about it in the academic handbook, but we wanted also to mention it now. Okay, dorms. So one thing that you need to know about the dorms is that you have to behave properly if you don't want to get fined. Many times students are playing with the rules, doing things that are on the border or any kind of thing like that. Just don't deal with it. We really don't want you to get into trouble, and we don't want you to pay lots of money for stupid reasons. So just do what you're told and don't get into troubles. And you'll get more explanations about it later in this presentation. Okay, so Tel Aviv municipality. So also when you're not in the dorms or in the university, so there are rules in this country and in this city. And it's important to know that a noise ordinance strictly enforced after 11 p.m. It's fine if you want to speak with someone, it's fine if you want to listen to music, you just cannot do it in a way that that make other people uncomfortable, and you're grown-ups, and just don't get into trouble with it because fines can be harsh. Okay. It's important to know that TAU has the right to remove you from the program at any time for disruptive behavior. It's not something that we usually do. It's of course not something that we like to do, but if we have to, we will do it, and we have the right to do it. And it's not something that is going to happen if you behave according to the rules. So just follow that and everything will be fine. Okay, and God forbid, if you're arrested, many times we cannot assist, nor can your embassy. Of course, if something like that happens for any reason, let us know, but don't think that we can solve any kind of problem like that, so don't get to that in the first place. Okay, alcohol and drugs. So I'm sure that many of you are happy to hear that in Israel it's legal to drink when you're 18. However, it's not recommended to drink to the situation when you do stupid things, like many of the things that I mentioned in the earlier 5 minutes. So drink responsibly and do it in a way that won't get you into troubles. And as I said earlier, you're grown-ups, and the very reason that in Israel it is possible to drink when you're 18 is that people are treating 18 years old in this country as grown-ups. So that means that you have to be grown-up if you want to enjoy the privileges of being here. Okay, So I'll go over a few things that are important to know regarding alcohol and drugs. So maintain awareness and never accept drinks from a stranger or leave drinks unattended. There were a few very unsympathetic occurrences like that in the past, not of Tel Aviv University, but of Israel and also in other places. It's not a secret. So just be responsible, be aware, and don't accept drinks from a stranger, and you won't get into troubles. Okay, heavy drinking and public drunkenness will stand out. Don't do that. We had such issues in the past, and we treated it very harshly because we trust you, and if you get drunk in a way that is unacceptable, then you might harm yourself or other people, and we're not going to let that happen. Okay, take authorized taxis or get only. Don't accept rides from strangers when you're drunk and when you're sober. All drugs, including marijuana, are illegal in Israel, but might change sometime in the future. But as for now, it is prohibited, and don't play with this. TU and your home country embassy are unable to intervene in any legal matter involving illegal substances. And if you need any assistance in managing drug or alcohol use, you can visit this link, and you will get the help you need. Sexual assault. So of course, we treat sexual assault in as most serious way we can, and it's very important to make things crystal clear regarding sexual assault. So non-consent is non-consent. Respect is respect, no is no, and that has to be clear. And don't play with culture differences, anything like that. Non-consent is non-consent, respect is respect, no is no. That is a red line, and just don't cross it. If something does happen to you or to a friend and you need to speak, contact us. We're available 24/7, and we can confidentially discuss options and resources and help with a plan depending on your circumstances and wishes. We try to deal with these things as good as we can, and we're all experienced with dealing with such situations, so you can trust us that we will do what we can by ourselves, and we will refer you to people that will be able to further help. You can call an English-speaking emergency hotline for victims of sexual assault, and the numbers are here written. And of course, you can contact the police, and you should be answered also in English. And you can make an appointment with a therapist or a counselor, and we will help in arranging this. You can contact us if you need anything, not only in situations of sexual assault, but it's important to mention it specifically in this context. So that's about it, and we're waiting to see you. Bye-bye.
Hi everyone, my name is Eden and I'm one of the counselors in the student life team. I'm going to tell you a bit about the social life on campus and in Tel Aviv. So these are our social media accounts. It is important that you follow us on social media because we post about our activities and we share special announcements. We have our Instagram page called Tau Madrichim. It has a blue logo. We also have a Facebook page called Madrichim Tau and another Facebook page called INTL Grad for advanced degrees. We also have a great playlist on Spotify, so you should check it out. Next, we're going to talk about post services. So if you don't live in the dorms, you can send posts to whatever address you live in. If you do live in the dorms, don't send your post to the dorms. It's really inconvenient and not recommended. If you have a friend in Israel, you can send a post to this friend's house. But the best way is to send the post to the international office in the university. All the details you need are here in this slide. An email will be sent to you when your mail arrives, and you can pick it up from our office on Sunday to Thursday from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Okay, moving on to public transportation. Okay, so during COVID-19, we have some special instructions in Israel regarding public transportation. If you want to use the train, you need to sign your seat in the Israeli train app called Rekevet Israel. This is the app's logo. If you want to use the bus, you need to know that according to the instructions, a bus can contain 20 people and no more. Make sure you don't sit next to other people and wear a mask, or the bus driver won't let you get inside the bus. In order to use buses, you must have a green card called Rafkav. This is the card. You can easily issue this card online. You need your student ID, your passport, and if you want a student discount, send us an email and we will send you back a form stating you are a student in Tel Aviv University. A quick note, the discount is for a card with your name and picture, not the anonymous card. The best public transportation app is Move It for buses and Rekevet Israel for trains. If you want to take a taxi, you should use the app Get Taxi, and the apps Waze and Google Maps for general navigation in Israel. In Tel Aviv, you can also find bikes and electric scooters everywhere. You can use them, pay via the specific bikes or scooters app, and leave them in the street when you're done with them. It's super cool. We believe it is the safest way to get around Tel Aviv right now during the pandemic. Just remember to wear a helmet. You can buy one in a store next to Einstein dorms. Next, we're going to talk about workout and sports. Okay, so we have a gym in Einstein dorms. It is free and available only for Einstein and Broshim residents. It is open Sunday to Thursday in the afternoons, 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. It is also open on Friday mornings and Saturday afternoons. Sometimes there are changes in the opening hours. We notify about changes in our Facebook page and our Instagram. Next to the university, there's a huge sports center. It is the university's elite sports center. It is pretty expensive, but if you enjoy sports, maybe you would like to try it. You can try it for one day for free. There are classes there like yoga, Zumba, Pilates. There's an Olympic pool. So you should try it if you can. Just make sure you understand that gyms might be closed due to COVID-19. If it is indeed the case, you can use free outdoor fitness facilities and courts in parks around Tel Aviv, such as the Yarkon Park, which is super close to the university. Okay, so the next slide is going to talk about our social activities. So this is the best part of our jobs and hopefully your experience here. We have an activity every week or 2 weeks. We always send an email with all the details and the registration form in advance. So all you have to do is register and join. We also publish a weekly newsletter with activities to do with our student life team and activities in Tel Aviv in general. All the activities will take place according to the COVID-19 guidelines. We're planning Zoom sessions, activities, trips, social gatherings, bar talks, so it's going to be a lot of fun. We also have other initiatives at Tel Aviv University. You can join the Student Union's Buddies program. This program creates bonds between Israeli and international students. There are a lot of sports teams and clubs in the university, such as water polo, handball, rugby, chess, tennis, and so much more. Also, Tazuz is an awesome platform that connects students within the same university based on their passions and interests, and creates social clubs according to the students' interests. You can read more about all of the initiatives in the links here in the slide. Okay, next we're going to talk about Shabbat and holidays. So if you never heard of the word Shabbat, it's the Hebrew word for Saturday and the Jewish holiday. Every Saturday or holiday starts at the evening before. It means that Shabbat always starts on Friday evenings. During Shabbat, stores and supermarkets are closed, except the ones that state that are 24/7. Public transportation is off. In Tel Aviv, there are some special buses that work on Shabbat, but most of them don't. Tel Aviv is not a religious city, so most bars and restaurants are open even on Shabbat, and taxis work regularly. Okay, thank you for listening. And then next, Danielle is going to talk about dorms and housing.
Hi, everybody. My name is Danielle, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about on-campus housing and off-campus housing. For those of you who are going to live in one of the university dorms, I will talk about what to expect in each dorm complex. And for those of you who will be living off campus, I will give a few tips on how to search for an apartment. So let's begin. Okay, so we will start with off-campus housing. It's very recommended to search for an apartment while already in Israel. It's very difficult to find anything if you're not present, if you're not physically in Tel Aviv, because most of the roommates and the landlords will want to meet you before deciding on accepting you for the apartment or not. Searching can take a long time and require quite a bit of legwork. Expect to spend anywhere between 2 to 6 weeks looking for an apartment. Of course, it can take longer or shorter, but this is the average, 2 to 6 weeks. You can expect to visit many apartments before you finally find one that's suitable for you. We recommend booking a hostel or an Airbnb for the first few weeks so that you have a place to stay until you do find an apartment. Price range is very wide. An apartment for a single person can cost anywhere between 4,500 and 6,500 shekels a month, and a shared apartment will normally cost between 2,500 and 3,500 shekels, depending on the location and quality of the apartment. You, of course, can find cheaper apartments if you look in areas further away from the center or in other cities around Tel Aviv. The best way to look for an apartment in Tel Aviv is through Facebook. Once you arrive in Israel, send us an email and we will send you a bunch of links to all the best Facebook pages. The market is very fast-paced. The demand for apartments is very high. So once you do find an apartment, it's recommended to let the landlord know that you want it as soon as possible, and you can expect to be asked to sign a contract within maybe 1 or 2 days from the day that you've seen the apartment. And of course, you will be expected to move in the next, within a time frame of maybe a few days or a week. So once you find something, let them know that you want it. Otherwise, there's probably a very long list of other people that are wanting the apartment, So you have to grab it while you can. You have the option of either joining an existing joining existing roommates in an apartment or searching for an empty one. When looking for an apartment, you will normally come across two types of listings. One that is posted by the landlord, which means that the apartment is empty and there are no roommates, and you will have to be responsible for finding the roommates yourself. Or you can join maybe with a friend and look together. That's also an option. The other type of listing is listings that are searching for roommates to join existing roommates in the apartment. In which case, the people that are normally posting these listings are the roommates themselves, and they will probably be the ones to decide on who gets to live in that apartment. So it's very recommended to be very friendly to the roommates. Also important to ask about additional bills like water, electricity, gas, municipality, housekeeping. In addition to the rent, you should always know what to expect beforehand if there are any other additional costs. Check the area for accessibility. It's always important to check the area to see what it offers and how accessible it is to campus from that area. Will it be 1 hour by bus, 2 hours by bus, 20 minutes by bus, or any other transportation that you plan to use? Take into consideration that during rush hours, Tel Aviv can be very congested. What else? Yes, Tel Aviv can be a very expensive city to live in, unfortunately. A good way to lower expenses is to live with roommates, naturally, as mentioned, and to search for an apartment in the cheaper areas of the city. But you will also have the option of looking for an apartment in one of the nearby cities, like Hulon, Bat Yam, Givatayim, Ramat Gan, and others. Of course, reaching campus from these cities will take you a bit longer, especially during rush hour, but it might be worth it financially. So this is another option for you to consider. Okay, so I'm going to talk about the Tel Aviv University dorms. The Boroshim and Einstein dorms belong and are run by a private company. They are not owned by the university, and therefore they set their own rules, and unfortunately they are not negotiable. Both dorms are adjacent to campus and are located within walking distance from shopping areas. They're also very well connected to the city center and beach by bus services. The advantage, of course, of living in the dorms is that you get to live very close to campus. I mean, really, you just cross the street and you're there. And of course, it's a much cheaper price than you would probably find anywhere else in the city. The downside is that it's a bit further away from the city center, further away from popular shopping areas and nightlife. So each one of you can just make the decision of what pros and cons you prioritize according to your needs. In this slide, you can find the address of each dorm and the opening hours of their office. Rules and regulations. Both dorms have a file which lists all the rules and regulations for living in them. This file will be sent to every one of you that is confirmed to be a resident of the dorm. They set the ground rules for living in the dorms, and it's very, of course, important that you abide by the rules. The goal, of course, is to make sure that the dorms are a pleasant area for everybody to live in. The dorms have over 1,000 residents in each one of them, and the goal is to make the dorms as pleasant and comfortable for everybody to live in. So of course, you are expected to abide by the rules as well. The dorm enforces their rules by using a fine system. The guards at the dorms are there for your protection, of course, and also to enforce the rules and regulations of the dorms. If a resident breaks one of the rules, he or she can be fined by the dorms, by the dorm management, and the fine ranges from 20 to 800 shekels, depending on the offense. So you can see this presentation as your first warning. If and when the dorm management issues a fine, it stands as it is, and you will be required to pay it within 5 business days. You can file an appeal to the fine within 2 days the moment you have received the fine notice. So let's just make sure that we don't reach that point, and simply make sure that you abide by all the rules and basically just be nice to your neighbors. The security staff, as mentioned, the dorms have a guard at the gate 24/7 and a patrol guard at night. Their job is to keep the residents safe and to make sure the atmosphere is kept calm and pleasant for everybody. The guards have the authority to come to your apartment in the case of any complaint or violation, in which case you have to open the door to them and identify yourself. Basically, you should definitely be very nice and polite to the security staff, since they will probably treat you the same as you treat them. The electronic gate system at the dorm. The electronic gate system is operational with a chip. Once you arrive at the dorms, along with your key to your room, you will receive a form in order to issue a blue chip, as shown on the slide. It's also called sometimes a fob or an FOB. This is used to operate the gate at the entrance to the dorm. And of course, it's personal. You cannot transfer it to anybody else. Once you go through the gate with the chip, the guard sees your picture on the computer screen so that he can confirm that you are the owner of the chip. So don't try and sneak your friends in. You will be caught and you will be fined for it. I will talk a little bit about hosting guests at the dorms in a bit. So regarding the keys, in Einstein, you will have 2 keys, one for your apartment and one for your room. In Boshim, you will have 1 key for your apartment. What to do if you're locked out or if you lost your key? Well, first of all, you can call a flatmate if you have one. You can also ask the guard to open the apartment door for you, but you will probably be charged 20 shekels for opening fees. And the guard will not necessarily be available immediately. He may be busy with something else, and you may have to wait until he becomes available. If you have lost your key or chip, you will need to go to the dorm office and request they issue you a replacement. You will be charged for the production of a new key. Hosting. Hosting guests at the dorm is divided into 2 main categories: day hosting and night hosting. Both are required to sign their name and show an ID to the guard while they enter the gate. Day guests are required to leave the dorm by 11 p.m. In case you would like to host your guests overnight, the procedure is a tiny little bit longer and is different from dorm to dorm. In Einstein dorms, you will be required to fill out the night hosting form in advance at the dorm office. The opening hours are listed in the slide. In Boshim, you will need to fill out a form with the gate guard, not at the dorm office, until 11 p.m. on the day you want to host your guest. Hosting night guests is allowed 2 nights per week only. And of course, common courtesy, if you do have roommates, then just ask them and make sure that they're okay with you having guests stay over for the night. So that's all for me. I hope all was clear, and let us know if you have any questions, and waiting to see you in Tel Aviv soon. Bye.
Hello, my name is Guy. I'm a social counselor in Tel Aviv University International, and I will be going over the next slides with you. So, excessive noise. The dorm's campus should be kept quiet and pleasant for all hundreds of residents at all times. but especially after between 2 to 4 p.m. and nighttime after 11 p.m. Throwing parties in the dorms is not allowed, and a party is defined by the dorm's rules and regulations as 6 people in the same apartment. When you come back to the dorms at night, please make sure that you enter quietly. Tel Aviv can be a super fun city, and it has a lot of things to offer for nightlife. But when you come back to the dorms after hanging out, the party should stay outside the gate. As to alcohol, drugs, and violence, the drinking age in Israel is 18. That means that most of you, if not all of you, can legally drink here. But that doesn't mean that you have to lose control, right? Please drink responsibly. And our recommendation is that you make sure that at least one friend remains sober when you go out and hang out in the city. We wish to remind you that our medical insurance does not cover injuries that happen under the influence of alcohol. So bear this in mind. Drinking in the dorms is allowed in your own apartment, but please do not drink alcohol in the public areas. Drugs are completely illegal in Israel, and using them might lead to a police involvement, something that you would wish to avoid. As to violence, either physical, sexual, or verbal, it is completely unacceptable and will be treated with zero tolerance from the side of the university and the dorms management. Fire and smoking. Setting fire in the public areas of the dorms is forbidden, and there are smoke detectors in every room, which are very sensitive. So we ask you not to play with them, not to cover them or turn them off from terms of security. Cigarettes are allowed to be smoked outside the building or on the balcony if you have one, but please take a considerate distance from the entries to the building. When you cook, please make sure that you don't leave the hot plates unattended. And actually, the hot plates in the kitchens of the dorms apartments are not Shabbat plates. That means that they don't turn off automatically or cool down automatically. Actually, it takes it a few minutes to cool down. So please be careful when you cook, while cooking and after cooking. Don't forget to turn it off, and also don't forget that it takes it time to cool down. If the fire alarm goes off, the security staff will come to take care of the fire. If there is actual fire, then please exit the building as fast as you can. Other emergencies. In case of emergencies, we have shelters in the dorms, and which are open. The shelter locations at Einstein, if you live in buildings E or G, then the underground floors serve as safe spaces, as shelters. And if you live in building B, there is an underground shelter just in front of the building. Here you can see a sign that reads Miklat, which is shelter in Hebrew. It is very visible. And if you live in Broshim, every floor in each building has a shelter apartment. It's called Mamak, and it also bears a similar sign. Other general information. So internet, both in Einstein and in Broshim, is free and no password is needed. Here you can see in this slide the general name of the network. The electricity is 220 volts. And if you need, you can buy an adapter in Ricochet or also in other stores in the city, but Ricochet is very close to the dorms campus. It's located right outside of Einstein dorms. Hot water boiler is something that is quite unique to Israel. And there is a timer that you have to turn clockwise if you want to take shower in hot water. And you have to wait between 20 to 30 minutes before you can take a shower with hot water. It takes it time to heat up. Cleaning and maintenance. It is your own responsibility to keep the apartment clean. You're not the first person to live in this apartment, and also hopefully not the last. So please make sure that you keep it clean and organized and pleasant for your own benefit and for the benefit of the rest of your flatmates. If you face any maintenance issue, then you can very easily open a maintenance request in the link that appears here in this slide under the first point. We recommend you to save the request number in case you need to follow up the status of the request. As to garbage, please throw the garbage bags only in the designated bins, and please, please, please do not leave the garbage bags outside of your door, even for a few minutes. It smells and it's very unpleasant for the rest of your neighbors, actually. Yeah, if you have some difficulties to clean up after yourself, then you can get help with from any outside source, or you can use a service that was put up by some of our former students. It's called Urban Butlers, and you can see their website URL right here on this slide. Yeah, so dorms placement. You will receive your placement a few days prior to your entry to the apartment. And we wish to stress that Tel Aviv University International has the right to change rooms at any time and ask students to move to another apartment. We try to avoid this, but this might happen. Just for your own information, your cooperation is required by contract. Also, Tel Aviv University International has the right to move a person from the dorms or apartments and deny on-campus housing due to illegal activity, violation of dorms rules and regulation, or violation of university rules. So our last station is how to sign a contract. First of all, when you sign a contract, you have to make sure that all the details are correct. You make sure that you have the right dates specified on the contract and that you have the right location written on it. So make sure everything is fine. And then you have to sign your initials on the bottom of every page. This is very important. And do not forget to sign all the pages and provide all the required information. On the last page of the contract, you'll see a list of all the things that you are supposed to have in your apartment. If something is missing or broken, please specify it on your own contract. Well, so that's it. I wish you a pleasant stay here and see you around. Bye-bye.
Hi again. So we've reached to the end of our student life orientation. It's been a pleasure. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope it answered all of your questions regarding the daily life here in Israel. As you can see, we're here for you, and we're here to give you any further information that you need. You can always contact us through the student life emails or phone numbers as presented on our welcome kit. So don't hesitate to ask any questions if you have them. And we're really hoping that you'll have a pleasant time here in Israel during your studies at TAU. So have fun, and hopefully we'll see you soon. Bye.